Okay, so we sent through these. The other class would tell him through these 10 people, and they were Adam Rishon, Malchut Tzedek, and Ayidei Avram, Vayidei Moshe, Vayidei Haman, Vayidei Yedison, Vayidei Asaf, Vayidei Shlosha Bnei Korach, and through the three sons of Korach. I'm going to use this thing. Yirmiyah Chas Sefer was Sefer Malachim. Yirmiyah wrote his book and his book. Sorry, the Sefer Malachim, and the book of Malachim. The Kinos, and he also wrote Kinos. He wrote all three of those. Rashi says, no. Chizkiah was Yasser Kosev Yeshaya, Mishli, Shirashir, and Kohelis. Chizkiah and his supporters wrote Yeshaya, Mishli, and Shirashir, and Kohelis. Bnei Dor, the people of the generation, Harich Yomim Achor, that were lengthy their days afterwards. So many of those people wrote these books. Anchi Ganes Gedol Lakasvu Yechezkel were Shleimaster, Yechezkel and the Shleimaster, the 12 prophets. Daniel and Megillah Esther, they wrote Daniel and Megillah Esther. Ezra Kosev Sifro, Ezra wrote his book, meaning Moshe wrote Torah. B'yachas is Divrei Yamim, Adlo, and Ezra wrote his book, Sefer Ezra, not Moshe. Ezra the prophet. Yachas lo had Shal Divrei Yamim Adlo, and he made the Yichus of Divrei Yamim until him. Rashi says, Kosev Yeshaya, Shahar Menashe, because Menashe killed him. Below Kosev Sifro, and he didn't write his book. Shlomo Nevi'im Kesuvim Severim, because Nevi'im wouldn't write their books. El name was just before the death. Mishnah v'Koheles, he wrote Mishnah and Koheles. The Chesiv B'Sefer Mishnah, it says in Mishnah Asher Tiku Anshe Chizkiah, which they copied over the men of Chizkiah. Ve'al Shechizkiah Garam Lehem Lahasuk B'Torah, and from the fact that Chizkiah caused them to learn Torah, Kedamrina V'Chelik Azem V'Chelik and Sanhedrin, no Asler Val Pesach basic Medrash, and he stuck a sword in the entrance of the base of Medrash. Nikra Daval Shmuel, the matter is called in his name, but he really wasn't the author. He just made them learn it. Anshe Ganesus Gedola, the men of the people of Canaan, I guess maybe Shlomo wrote it. Anshe Ganesus Gedola, the answer to men of Moses, Hani Zechariah Malachi Vizrubavel Malchi V'Chavrehem, Mordechai V'Chavrehem. Sorry, these are Chagad Zechariah Malachi, Zerubbabel, Mordechai, and his friends. Okay. He wrote Yechosu Yecheskel. It's not in the Begol that he had a nevuah not in Israel in the exile. But any Odea Lama Lo Kasher Ches, I don't know why Yecheskel didn't write it. Ask himself. Imlo Mifnei Shalun is not nitna avil leftov b'chutzlaretz, unless you're going to say he wasn't given nevuah to be written in outside of Israel. The cost from Elu la'achar shabol la'aretz, and these people wrote it after they came to Eretz Yisrael. M'chein Sefer Daniel, similar to Sefer Daniel, Shahaya Begola, which was in the exile. M'chein Megillah Esther, and similar to Megillah Esther, V'shnei Masim Mitol Shahayu, and Megillah Esther. V'shnei Masim, and the 12 prophets, Mitol Shahayu, and for Hashem, the time since the prophecy was very small, low cost from the Nevi'im themselves didn't write it, because they didn't have so much. It's one sefer his book. Ubo B'Chagad Zechariah Malach, and the Chagad Zechariah Malach came. Rosh Ruach HaKodesh, this the left as they saw the Ruach HaKodesh was being removed. But Shahayu Haim Nevi'im Achronim, they were the last Nevi'im. But Amdu V'Kosv Nevuasim, they stood up and wrote their prophecies. But Sarfu Nevuos Ketanos Imam, and they combined small prophecies with them. But also Sefer God, they made into a big book. Shlo Yavdu Machmos Ketanos, that it shouldn't be forgotten because of it's being small, so they put the whole 12 together to make it bigger. Okay. Although Ezra made the lineage to him, actually until he made the yichus for himself, until he went down and and wrote the yichus for everyone until him. Besides the Rav, this is support for Rav. The Amar Yehuda says, "Lo Ezra mi Babel." Ezra didn't leave from Babel. Yichus asked from Babel until he yichus all the way to himself and went up. Okay, or maybe it was for himself and then he went up. Amanaske, who is the one who completed the book? Rashi says, Messiah ad Yesatash, which is because of the Yamim ad Sheyichaspo, and that's that he wrote the Yamim, like the lineage of everyone, until Miyachas, even to himself. Manaske, who finished the book of, I guess, the Yamim. Me, Simon, who finished it. Nechemia ben Chachlai, yeah, that was Nechemia ben Chachlai who finished it. Okay, I'm in my master. Yeshua calls the Sefer Vishmona Psukim Shabbatar. Yeshua wrote his book and the 8 Psukim in the Torah. And Tanya Mandam Shmona Psukim Shabbatar Yeshua calls. It's taught like the Mandam, or this price is in accordance with the Mandam, or holds that the 8 Psukim Yeshua was the one to write them. The Tanya Yom Hashem Moshe Eved Hashem, and it says Moshe died in the servant of Hashem. Moshe made the cost of the Yom Hashem Moshe. Moshe is dead and he's writing and he's died there Moshe. Ella Adkan calls Moshe around until here Moshe wrote. Mikan Ve'elech calls Yeshua from here onward Yeshua wrote. David Rabbi Yehuda the words of Yehuda Ba'amilo Rabbi Nechemia some say Rabbi Nechemia. Amilo the Rabbi Shimon said to him, Abshur Torah the Sefer Torah Chaser Osachas. It's possible that the Sefer Torah is missing a single word because of the luck of the Sefer Torah. Then to take this Sefer Torah, which is Mashma, take the whole thing, and he's giving it. Ella Adkan Kodesh Baruch Hu Omer, rather until now Kodesh Baruch Hu is saying Moshe Omer. And so Moshe Kosef, and Moshe was writing. I think the Bach takes out the Omer. From here on, Hashem says, and Moshe writes with tears. How long is like it says later on? Rashi says, when it says, Tiny Command Omer, Kol Hafta Tani Leil, all this was taught earlier, Yeshua Kosef Sifra Mishmon of Sukkim. Yeshua wrote his book in the 8 Psukim. Shabbatorah Asinki Aitana goes like this Tana in the Kamak later on. The Amrinami Yeshua Koskim is also Yeshua wrote. The Tanya is one to buy. So Ploskus Tanai behind this, and Machlokus and Tanaim about this. Behind Yamas Moshe, this and Moshe died. Moshe Nemel Halan, like we're going to say later on. Akulam Milsukos, we went on the whole thing. The Kamer HaKadosh Baruch Hu Omer Moshe, because it says Hashem said and Moshe wrote. Kosev Shematina Moshe and the Viyam Kesuvim Nipi Ezra. It's right. We found that it's the Nevi'im was written from the mouth of their Rebbe. The Yom Lehem Baruch, and Baruch said to them, "Mipiv Yikarei Elai, from his mouth they called to me. That's called Dvarmi Elu, all these words. Vani Kosev Al Sefer V'Dayo, and I wrote this book with ink." So we see that Hashem is saying and Moshe's writing, not really to do with this tear thing, but this man holds tears. How does it? Who does it hold like this? Said Rabbi Yeshua Bar Abba Amarav Gilul Nimrav Gilul Amarav Nimrav. Shlomo Psukim Shabbatorah Yachlev Korah Osan. Those 8 Psukim in the Torah that only a single person can read them. Then Rabbi Yehuda, that say that's Rabbi Yehuda, in the meaning that's why it has a special din, is because it's not written by Moshe. The look of Shimon, not like Shimon, who said Moshe did write it. I feel the same with Shimon, if you want to say it's Shimon, Hol Vishtana, since it's changed, and it's in tears, it's not normal. Therefore, you have to read it as one person. Rashi says, so one reads them, Klomer in Pesukim in Mapsikim Hem, that means you can't stop in them, you have to do it all at one shot. Lamer Behud, let's say it's Yehuda Dam Lo Kos of Moshe, Lefikach Nishtanu, he says it wasn't written by Moshe. Lefikach Nishtanu Mishar, so if it's different than the rest of the Torah, but the local of Shimon, not like what Shimon says he wrote in tears. However, Nishtanu, since it was trained, the folk with Bedema to write it in tears, Nishtanu, it's changed. Yeshua Yeshua wrote his book, Yeshua ben Nun, Hashem, but it says that Yeshua died, the servant of Hashem. So how does he write that? To ask Elazar finished it. Elazar ben Aaron, it says Elazar ben Aaron died. So how can he write that? Ask Pinchas finished it. Shmuel calls the Sefer. Shmuel wrote his book. Shmuel Mason, so Shmuel died. The asking in God Achozev and Nasan Navi that was concluded by God Achozev and Nasan Navi, they finished his book. Fine. David cuts a Sefer for Sefer Tehillim. David wrote Sefer Tehillim on Yidei started the canon to the 10 elders. Why didn't you count also Asa and Ezrachi as it should be 11 elders? Amir Rav says Asa and Ezrachi is Avram, Asa and Ezrachi is Avram. Sepacha Asa and Ezrachi says over here Asa and Ezrachi because Sepasam Mihair Mimizrach Tzedek. It says about Avram, who is the man who raised one from the east. So it says the word Mizrach, which is similar to the word who raised them from the city of the east. Mizrach is similar to the word Ezrach, and Asa and Ezrach is really Avram, who was raised up from the city of the east. Okay, that's actually two Rashi. So that's not the only. Listen in another languages. This is the Bach here. The Bach says, here's how it goes to Mishnah. So Hachi Garcinon. So just add the Hachi here. We're gonna at the end of this Rashi we're gonna do the rest of it. Okay, Hachi Garcinon. Lamasisin. Let's mention earlier back in Rashi. Biminyana. The Sorah Zakanim in the second language they have the number of the 10 Zakanim. The Kafash of Avram but Esan Ezrachim mentions Avram and Esan Ezrachim. The local Kafash of Asaf doesn't count Asaf. The Kesavim Yeshoshav and Korach because he holds it was from the 3 sons of Korach. V'ha Amar Rav, but it says Rav. No, sorry, and then now you go back to the Bach. But Garcina Khan, we have the Gersi over here, but Kafash of Avram, Kafash of Esan Ezrachim. It says Avram says Esan Ezrachim. V'ha Amar Rav, it says Rav, the Rav says that Esan Ezrachim was Avram. Mishani Esan Ezrachim, the Kafash of Yaakov, the Psiv V'Yizrach Lo Hashemish. And it says Esan Ezrachim was here, was actually Yaakov. It says V'Yizrach, and it was eastern, where it's the sun. So in that opinion, Esan Ezrachim was actually not Avram, it was Yaakov. In that Gersa. We don't have that Gersa, we have this Gersa, which is, how could you say, why isn't Esan Ezrachim said? Okay. Haman, it says Moshe and it says Haman, and it counts Haman. Rav says Haman's and Moshe. Haman is Moshe, so how could it count both of them? Because of Haman says over here Haman is the name of this prophet. Because if awesome, it says over there, Bechol Beis Haman and all my house is trustworthy about Moshe. He's the trustworthy person, but he's the most Haman, most trustworthy. Haman means trustworthy. Three Haman, Havi, there was 2 Hamans, and Rav says, yeah, one of them is called Haman, and that is Moshe. One of them is Haman, and he's the prophet. A different person. Moshe goes to Sefer. Moshe wrote his book, Parshas Bilam, and the Parsha of Bilam, I guess also part of the Torah, but Bilam is not really in the story of the Torah and its mitzvos. Yov, and he also wrote Yov. Besides the Rabbi Levi, to prove to Rabbi Levi Bar Lachman, son of Lachman, the Amr Rabbi Levi says Rabbi Levi Bar Lachman, Yov made Moshe Haya, Yov was in the days of Moshe. Sepacha mi tein April, says over here, who will give then? V'yichtav b'mila, and write my words. Sepacha right, and it says over there by Yov of Meya de April. When will I know then? Or therefore, but it says the word April. V'omer Abraham says, Gabi v'yachol mikol adam, says in regards to being smarter than everyone, me'isuna hazrachi, itmar, v'chein half to Haman, and similarly that case of Haman, zem Moshe, this is Moshe, Haman, who crowds going about the Haman on that pasuk itmar. That was what it stated. The Kosebe v'hoya v'kolkol, and it was, and it raised, the Haman v'kolkol, and Haman and Kilkol. So Ram was explaining that pasuk of Yaakov Mikol Adam. Haman was better than everyone. That really meant that was talking Moshe. That's what he says. But then how the Haman Zeh Moshe, Haman the Hukra, it's going on the Haman that pasuk. Itmar the Kasabei the Haman the Kilko. Okay. Trey Haman. Some there is two. Maskil Haman is has Rachel is one. This is lamentation of Haman as Rachel. Haman Achrini. That was actually a different Haman, and that's why you could list them both, Moshe and Haman. Ve'ima b'miyitzuk, one we say at the time of Yitzuk, the Siv Miyiko, who Atzatzai, who is then who is then that did the trapping. This was Yitzuk saying it. Ve'ima b'miyakov, one we say that Yaakov, the Siv Imkain Eifo Zosasuk, so then do this. Ve'ima b'miyosef, one we say that Yosef Siv Eifo Heimro, where they raising. But the point is they say Eifo by a lot of by Yaakov, by Yosef, by Yitzchak. Most of the time, the Gemara says you can't think that way. Says who will give that my book and will be hewn out like chiseling the stone. And Moshe they agree with okay, and Moshe is the one who's called the chiseler. The Siv, the Irish is low, and he saw the beginning is to him. He Shem Ki Sham Mukhalkas Mukolka saw from there the portion of the inscribed. Let me just read the image here. Oh, that my word, and he provided the first portion, the first part for himself, for there was the inscriber portion reserved, because there was the inscriber's portion reserved. Okay, he saw the first portion was his, because there was the inscriber's portion reserved. Okay, it's called the portion for the inscriber is self-considered. Okay. Rabbi Merabah says, even made Meragim, however, Eva was actually time the Meragim. Because of here, there was a man in the name of in the land of Utz. Shlomo's name was Eva, because the Apostle says over there by the Meragim, the spies. Yeshua 8 is there in a tree. Midam is the same. Is that the same? Haka Utz Hasam 8. Here is the tree, and here it says Uz, and there Utz, and there it says 8. Here's what they were saying to Lahu. He was saying to them, Moshe and Yisrael, Moshe to the Israel. Yeshno Osan Adam is there that person Shanosa Barucham Keis that his ears are long like a tree, meaning like Eov, Umagan Aldor Keis and protects the city, his generation like a tree. So yes, it is from Utz, that he's from Utz, but he's hinting that in fact he's very long like a tree in years. Unless he just means just from the fact that they called him Tree, whatever you would know it's you because he's really long, and very few people like that. And really nothing to do with the fact that he's from that city. I'm not sure. Just to notice that his years are like a tree. Ew, was very lengthy for many days. Yasib whom Rabban committed Rabbi Shmuel back in the Gemara. Certain Rabban stand upon the Shmuel bar Nachmani. Yasib Kamar sitting and saying, Yiv lo Hayil never was, Yiv never was and never will be. El Mashal Hayil was just a Mashal. Amalei said to him, Alecha Makra upon you, upon it says, Yishai Beretz Eretz Uz, there was a man in the land of Uz, Yiv Shmuel's name is Yiv. El Miyanzel, the Gemara responds back, but now, the Rosh and this poor person, Ein Kol Kiyim, Kibsa Achati, there was nothing except for this small sheep. Lamb. This little lamb, Achas Katanim, which is very small. Asher Kone, which he acquired, V'yachya, and he lived with them and lived. Miha, but that whole thing was just a parable for, if that case really happened. El Mashal Bam is just a parable, and it didn't happen. Achanami Mashal Bam, so too, this is just a parable. And I'm also MK Nishmo B'Shem Yiro Alama. The Gemara responds back. If so, if it's just a parable, why isn't his name in the name of the city? Why did it say that? It's just a fake case. It never happened. Why does he have a city? Why does he have a name? Rashi says, Marshal Haya, Lalama Mimen learn from him to Shuvos them Lapikorsum to the responses to the Lapikorsum. Amida Sedena who about the trade of judgment. V'she'ino them nitfas alzaro, and that a person doesn't get grabbed about his pain. I guess he doesn't get punished. Okay. Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Elazar, the Ami Tavar, Rabbi Yochanan and Rabbi Elazar say both of them. Ila was from the people who left in exile, went to exile, left exile. Base Midrash Be'Tveria, and his base Midrash was in Tveria. Mesa Yemation also shall yield me, and that's his price this year. That says the years of Eo Mishash Nechnas Yisrael, the Mitzrayim Ba'ad Shiatzu. From the time they started coming into Egypt until they left. So Bryce is saying it was at that time, not at the time of the goal of the exile. Rashi says, Eli Me'at of the Ishaya Al Mahava. What you see was Eli Me'at, but according to now, the rush inculcated, and there's the poor person had nothing. If safe at the ground, the possible people, the boss, it was for him for a daughter, and they say it was for him for a wife. Me have with that case, that hadn't happened. Yishum the cause of B'toy, because it says the words B'toy, and it was. So how can it says there it was this here too? It was. What do you see? Even though it says it was, it still can be a parable. So meaning, and so now the question is, how could it be in Mitzrayim and also in the Gola? Can be shot. Mitzrayim. He'd say it's like the time when they went to Israel, entered into Israel until they left. Rashi says Kimi Sham. That's 210. That's still Yosef Hashem has Kol Asher L'Iyav, and it says Hashem added to all which is Iyasad the Mishnah for doubling. After Shenosa Kapul, and also his years were doubled, and the Vayi Achari Zos, and Vayi Achari Yev Achari Zos, and it says in the year of after this, Me'av Arba'im Shana, 140 years. Lamanu Shahayah Ben Shvim Kishabon Yisur. We learned that he was 70 when the Yisurim came on him. Harim Masayim the Esther, and behold, he lived 210, because he lived double what he was paying. Liolam and Oli Golahaya, and really he was from the exiles of the people who are exiled. Okay, so Shivan Nevi'im, Shivan Nevi'im is Nabal almost all. There were 7 Nevi'im which had Nevuot to the people of the nations of the world. Be'elohim, these are them. Bilam and his father, Be'eov and Eov, Eliphaz, Eliphaz Timani, Bildad, Umashuchi, and Bildad Ashuchi, Vitzover Hanami, and Sofer Hanami, Belihu, Ben Brachia, and Belihu Ben Brachia, Habuzi. Okay, so we see that he was not Jewish. There's Nabu Sloma, we see that he was a Nachman, he shouldn't be kicked out in the Gola because he's not Jewish anyway. Why is he getting kicked out? On the time, according to you, Elihu ben Brachia, Lavi Yisrael, wasn't he Jewish? Well, because but it says he was from the tribe, the nation, family of Ram. Rashi says, Al Korfu from Midiasi Krab Bishmo from the shame Elvis. The fact that Elihu, from the fact that he makes his yichus from his name and the name of his father, Bishim Mishpach, the name of his family, Israel is for sure Jewish. But insta Amri Mishpach Azram, those who say that when it says Mishpach Azram means he was Hainu Avram, means from Avram, meaning he was Jewish and he was from Avram. Ella in Ella Invoy in Ella Invoy Envy Umasolim, rather they Invoy Envy Umasolim, they gave prophecies, they prophesied to the nations of the world. Hachanami Eov Envy Lumason. So we hear about Yov, even though he was Jewish, he prophesied to the nations of the world. Also cool in the Via Milo Invu Lumasolim, it's not that all the prophets gave prophecies to the nations of the world. Hasam Ikr yeah, the nations of the world. Hasam Ikr Nivuas to Israel. There the main prophecies were to Israel. Hasam Ikr Nivuzai to Lumasolim. Here the main prophecy was to the nations of the world. And that's why these are called the prophets of the nations of the world. Okay. Mitzvah. Pasuk Hayibum Masolim. They ask you a steer from my brain. So this is the pasuk in the nations of the world. View Shlomo's name is Yeh. Global Yolam Elakadei the Kabbalah Scar. He only went to this world to receive his reward. He was going to accept tons of reward. Heva Kadosh Baruch Hu Allah Yisrael. Except Kadosh Baruch Hu brought upon him Yisrael. And V'hitzkel Makar from Uganda, and he started to blasphemize and curse. Kavu Kadosh Baruch Hu Scarable Mazan, and if Kadosh Baruch Hu doubled his scar in this world, could they start them in Olam Haba in order to take him out of that world to come. And okay. Tonight it's a Machogas Tanaim. Tanya Rabbi Lazar says, remember that's clearly saying that he was a guy. He was the nations of the world, and that's why Hashem wanted to give him all his scar in this world, and he doubled his scar and got rid of him. Clearly a drug. Yeah. Tonight it's a Machogas Tanaim. Tanya Rabbi Lazar says, Eov may shofet Eov was in days of the judgment of the shoftim. Shnamar Hinan Tam Kulachem Kazisim. It says they now all you see. V'lama zeh hevel tablu, and why have you become altogether vain? Become hevel. Ezador shekula hevel. What's a nation which is a generation which is all hevel? Haviyomer zedor shom shabbat hashoftim. This is the generations of the judgments of the shoftim. Shekuva hevel. It's all hevel. Atomin shem behem lo hayaklum. The best of them wasn't worth anything. Can I mean of the comments later on? Shanishpat hayalo pislum pam. The dishpat as a shofto. That the one who was judged had the opening of the mouth, meaning had a way to say that the judge is the person who is judging him and rebuke him, saying you're doing bad also. And B'Shem Makakwa says, "Yub may Achashverosh Hara Yub was named Achashverosh." Name of the pasuk says, "Lo nimtzu nashim yafos kebenos Yub b'kol haaretz," and they didn't find any nice women in all the land like the daughters of Yub in the whole land. What's the generation they search for nice women? Have Yom Zed Dorsha Achashverosh that would say that this is the generation of Achashverosh, and Yils had the best ones. I guess Esther took over. I don't know. The aim of Medav, let's say in the days of David, that said Yabakshu Nar Yap, and he says they search for a nice woman, a nice wife, or a nice young girl for David. Hatzam B'Chol Gvul Yisrael, there is in all the boundaries of Israel. And here is in all the world, and it says in all the world by Yov, and Dove was only looking for Jews, and it was only in Israel. So it's not the same thing, as opposed to Achashverosh was looking everywhere. Rav Nelson says, Yov made Malchus Sheva Hayav, Yov was in Malchus Sheva, Shnemer Vatzibol Sheva Metakum, and Sheva fell upon them and took them away. But Yov made Kastim Hayav, and the Chum said that Yov was in the days of Kastim, Shnemer Kastim Samu Shloisha Rashim, and says the Kastim plays formed three bands. So, okay, see Rashi. He made Malachim, Malchus Sheva Havi, was times the Malchus Shavas, Uba Gam Gedud Mikastim Alav, and also came an army of Kastim on him, but the point is he was from the times of Sheva, and they're saying, and the Chomer saying it's from Kastim, is at the time of the Kastim, meaning Nebuchadnezzar, and let's see Rashi again. We may Nebuchadnezzar, times of Nebuchadnezzar, Haya, Uba Gam Misheva Gadol Alav, and also came from Sheva an army on him, but it wasn't the time of Sheva. It was still the time of Kasdim, and there was also an army. Okay, so which one was the time? Which one was the army? V'yishom Yov b'mei Yaakov. Some say that Yov was the time of Yaakov. The Dina Bas Yaakov. Now, Dina, the daughter of Yaakov, married him. It says over here, you speak as one of the loathsome women speaks. You speak as one of the, okay. And this is in Eov. Because if also it says over there, because then he has done a loathsome act in Israel, so it says Nevala here and Nevala there, and one by Eov, one by Israel, and it's trying to teach that he married the daughter of Yaakov. Mukula tonight the Eov Yisrael, however, all these Tanaim that are saying these Shatim are holding that he's from Israel. Levami Yeshom aside from this final Yeshom, which is saying he's for the time of Yaakov. These Akadaita Lumas Olam have he's going to say he's the non-Jews from the non-Jews. Boss of the Shkeba Moshe, once Moshe died, he shari Shkina almost Olam, but did the Shkina the rest of the last nations of the world. But Amar Mar Master said, Bigish Moshe Shalotish Shkina almost Olam. The Shem prayed that you should not rest the Shkina on the nations of the world. And Nasalon was given to him. Shnamar Beniflinu Ani B'Amachim should be like special, differentiated me and my nation. And Rashi says, Vamamar B'Perakam the Brachos, Beniflinu the apple of the Balestical Iman, even though it says when he went with us, Chaya Sheila Acheres was a different request. Speaker Tish Rishkin Ali, so he requested the Shkina should rest in Israel. Mikomakum Sheila, the Niflinu, that's still the request of him, we should be different. Chaya the Buka Im Balestical Iman was attached to go with us, which is a different request. And this is how he said, with such he's saying, Oh, Davarafani Vishol, and further, another thing I'm asking you from you, Shania Nivdalim Balestical Iman, that should be separated with when you're going with us. We call almost from all other things, meaning going with us means having the Shekhinah with us, and no other nation should have that. So it is connected to, but it means really no other nation should have it. Nivdal Balestical Iman, we should be separated back in Rashi, we should be separated. We should be separated when going with us. We call almost from all the nations of the world. And the Rashi explained because it's connected to the lifetime of having your Shekhinah on us and not other people. Okay. I'm going to be up from Yochum says, Zorishal Yiv Shatu B'Zimah steeped in lewdness. Shemar Hainatam Hulakam Chavitim says, behold you all see. Lamazah Hevel that. Why have you Hevel, why have you done vain things? Agusiv Shuvu Hashulamis, and that was in Eov. Agusiv, and it says Shuvu Hashulamis, Shuvu now Sebach, return O Shulamit, return that we may gaze upon you. Okay? That's in Shir Shirim. Im Benevua. Okay, Rashi says, Menach Sabach, should see you. Lashon Zima, that means the language of having relations, of lewdness. Relations to Zef, the Hestakel, the Nashim, to stare at the women. Shalom de Kochavim, Omrim, the Yisrael, because they open the club and saying to the Jews, Shuvi Latorasenu, Vesesteni Manu, Sizni Manu. Return from your Torah and have relations with us, or be zone with us. Ima b'nevuah, why not say v'dich? That doesn't mean lewdness. It means having nevuah. The specific pasuk in Yeshaya, the pasuk says in a prophecy to Yeshaya ben Amos. See, the word chazon can mean prophecy. Imkain lama zeh hevel tehaval. And what about the first pasuk? Says, what does this mean when it says hevel the emptiness of emptiness? Lamali, what is that for? Amr of Yochanan might have said further of Yochanan says, what's judgment possible? He may Shavat the Shoftim was in the day of the judgment of the Shoftim, of the judge of the judges. Dorish Shofet at Shoftim, that means the generation which they judge their judges. Amr lo told Kisam Yvain, and after it said the judge would say to him, take that little toothpick which is between your eyes, meaning that you did a sin, get rid of that little sin. Amr lo the person who was being asked to get rid of him would say back to him, Tol Koram Yvain, and after take that big beam from between your eyes. You have a much bigger problem than me. Amrlo Kasbechol Hayoli Gesigim, it said to him, if the judge said to him, Your silver has become dross. It's not really good silver. You're faking. You're cheating. He says your wine is mixed with water. You're cheating. Your wine sells also. I'm selling bad coins, but you're selling cheated wine. Shabbat is a shoftim. Rashi says Shahayu a shoftim asim mekokulim that the judges themselves were messed up. V'haya piskal parallel the nishkan there was a person there's an opening in the mouth of the people getting judged. L'chik that's mechiko to rebuke the person who's rebuking him. Sheim Amrlo Hashofet told Kisim Ben Yanach, the judge said to him, take the toothpick from between your eyes, Istalik Uparish Meavir, to separate and go away from the sin. It's on a small sin Shabbat within your hands. Yochel Zeloma told this person is able to say, told Korim Ben Yanach to take the big beam which is between your eyes. Pirish Meavir Shachamur Shabiyadcha to separate from the strength of sins which is in your hands. Tivacha Yayin, that means wine. Kamo Alti Visiva Yayin says don't be with the people who I guess get intoxicated with wine or drink wine. Mahol, your wine is mahol, or it means mixed in. Between koloshin kololas, similar lashon of kololas, and moving of it means mixed in. Shabbator lashon here, lashon of being confused, it's mixed up and everything. So yeah. Okay. It's mixed up with water, so you're worse than me. Amr Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani, Rabbi Shmuel Bar Nachmani said, Amr Rabbi Yochanan of Yochanan, Kol Amr Malka Sheva Isha Haisen. When it says Malka Sheva is a woman, Animal is always only making a mistake. It's a mistake. Mike Malka Sheva. What does it mean Malka Sheva? It means Malchus of the Sheva, the kingship of Sheva. It's not a person. It's the whole kingship. Yom it was the day. V'yov b'nei El came the sons of God. V'yatziv El Hashem to stand before Hashem. V'yavu gam Satan and Sophom stood, and it came also the Satan in the midst of them. V'yom Hashem El Satan. Hashem said to the Satan, "May tell where you coming from?" Beyond the Satan responded, "Okay." Amr etc. Amr Lefanav, he said in front of him, Master of the universe, Shafti B'chol ha'olam kula, I spread out over the entire world. I've gone to and fro throughout the entire world, okay. Lo matasi neman k'avdach Avram, and I find anyone trustworthy as you're like your servant Avram. Shamartul, you said to him, Kom hizalaf eretz, the article of Ruckus is going to the land, go on the length and width of it. He'll give it to you. And even still, Shalom Matzah Malcolm Lakwar, and still in a time he didn't find a place to bury as Sarah, Ad Shekana Ba'arba, okay, and Ad Shekana Ba'arba Shekel Kasim, until he can buy it with 400 coins. Still, he didn't think about you after your traits and said it was okay. I know he said, "Well, give me this whole land and I'm gonna have to pay for it." But still, he didn't think about it. He says, "Okay, whatever Hashem says." Hashem said to the Satan, "Hasamta libacha el Eov, have you placed your heart to my servant Eov? Ki ein kamo ba'aretz, there's no one like him in the land." I'm going to be open, etc. I'm going to be open. Says, "Gadol hanam v'Eov yosef mashanam v'Avram." It's greater which says by Eov. This one says by Avram. The Ilu ba'Avram because if by Avram says Yati Yadati Ki Elohim Ata. It says, "Now I know that you are a fear of God." And it says, "A man who is pure and straight, a fear of God." But he had extra more than fear of God. Has pure and straight. Versamiran turns from evil. My Versamiran, what does it mean? It turns from evil. Amr Rabbi Barak Shmuel, and it says Rabbi Shmuel, Eve was forgiving with his money. Minhagu Shalom knows in class, he puts the meaning of the world to give half a fruit to the Chadvan to the merchant or to the store attendant. Vatun Mishalo, Yehu would give up from his own stuff, and wouldn't accept it. Rashi says, Kumisalach, Hainu de Kamer Umisalach Ba. This would because it got up and go. This is what it was said in the pasuk Umisalach Ba. May also Shamartalo means from that person that you said about him, Hisalach Ba'aretz Ba'ani Ba. And go into the land, that's what I'm coming. Meaning, from the first you said, go into the land, north and south, east, length and width. And then you said you didn't actually give him the plot of land to bury Sarah. Still, Abram was faithful and didn't question anything. So from that case, I'm coming and saying there's no one as good as him. Menagol and And Hashem said there's Eov. Minhag Olam knows some Chasi Pruta gives half the Pruta the Kanvani. Mishi Yeshlo Malachas Muat, someone who has a small amount of work, La'asos to do. Amar the Paul says to his worker, Chasi Pruta Ani Yinos says, I'm going to give you a half a Pruta. Menel Chel to Kanvani, go to the store. Next of a Pruta, acquire something with a full Pruta, because there's no such thing as a half Pruta. Kikar or bread or bam or eggs. And we'll divide it. The Eov Vitra L'Chatzi Hasheni, and the Eov gave up the second half. Vishlo for his own money. V'noselo Kol Pruta gave him the whole penny, or whatever, for whatever Pruta was there. Shoyu Rabbi Ainov L'Daktik B'Davar Kal Shein a moment he's bad in his eyes to be medactic with something that's not even money, and say, oh, half a Pruta will split the thing, whatever it is. Okay. V'yamar Satan, the Satan responded, asked Hashem to Hashem, V'yomer, Hachinim Yoel Eov Elohim, is it for nothing that Eov is afraid of Hashem? Halo Atzuka, Sachsav Ado, V'an Besos, isn't it because you blessed, you have blessed his, I'll just read it from here. Does you have not gone to, have you not made a hedge about him and about his house? Sachsav Ado, I guess a hedge about him and about his house, and about all that he has, everything, on every side, you have blessed his work of his hands. Okay, and the cattle and his cattle is increased on the land. Okay, so that's the translation of the whole rest of the pasuk. We go. What does it mean? The part of the pasuk which is important. So I mean, the part of the pasuk we have is that you've made a hedge around him, based on around his house. What does it mean? The handiwork of his hands he blessed. Amar Rabbi Shimon by Rav Yosef said, anyone who took a pruta from Eov got blessed, so the work of his handiwork was blessed. If you took a Eov pruta was special and you got a blessing out of that. Rashi says nothing. What does it mean? And his livestock was increased in the land or spread on the land. Rav Yosef says, the livestock of Eov broke open the laws of the world, or the boundaries of the world. The minhag of the world is the Avim Hargums, even that wolves kill goats. The livestock of Eov, Ezim Hargum as the goats were killing the wolves. And however, go and send your hand, and touch all that is his. Meaning you can do your certain things, say all this stuff. And he will, if not on your face, he will bless you. Meaning really the other way, not he will do the opposite to Hashem, not bless him. And then his son said, okay, challenge him, we'll see what happens. Hashem says to the son, this is everything which is hidden in your hand. But to him himself, don't touch your hand, etc. But here you'll be Hayom, what is that day? One of Vinosov Ochlim shows him his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking. Yain before in the wine in the house of their brother, the elder. Malach boil Yub, the Malach came to Yub Yomer Abakar Hayul Horshim, and it says oxen were plowing and they were feeding beside them. Okay, so that's the end of the pasuk. Oxen were plowing and feeding beside them. My Abakar Hayul Horshim, what does it mean the oxen were planting Sonus roads and the animals were feeding beside them. Amr Yochanan says, "Lama she'etimo Hakadosh Baruch Hu le'Eov me'eno Olam Haba," teaches that Hashem fed to Eov similar to Olam Haba. Rashi says, "Al yedei habakar darish leim," because through the bakar is darshening at the crop. Sha'ochlos chazes, they were eating this, whatever this guy's like certain part of the grain, I don't know exactly what it's called. Mitalim hama'ana, but they were eating that from the furrow which was plowed. She'azer someach v'shatzik, that the plow would blossom in its moment, I guess in the time when he's plowing, and they could eat at that point even. So that's similar to Lim Haba, as that pasuk means, meant that Hashem fed him that.